Top 10 most overrated wrestlers in wrestling, professional wrestling history. Number 1, The Undertaker. I know a lot of people gon' dislike hearing that because of the nostalgia of The Undertaker. But let's be real, people. Outside of his gimmick, outside of The Undertaker's gimmick, name me one match. No, name me one match that you can say The Undertaker carried this match. This was one of the greatest performances I ever seen. Now, here's what I know you're going to say. Oh, what about the WrestleMania matches with Shawn Michaels? Well, look who he was wrestling. He was wrestling Shawn Michaels. What do you expect? What do you expect to happen? He's wrestling one of the top 4 greatest wrestlers of all time, Shawn Michaels. So, of course, the match is going to be great. Of course, Shawn Michaels is going to put him in position to look good. But outside of those 2 WrestleMania matches with Shawn Michaels, what match can you literally go to or point to for The Undertaker that says this is one of the best performances that The Undertaker, this is a match that Undertaker carried? Because even his rivalry with Bret Hart in the 90s and 97, those matches were carried by Bret Hart. Undertaker has never carried a match. He has never carried. His feud with the Great Khali was terrible. Batista, JBL, the Dudley Boys, his matches with Stone Cold were decent, but they weren't. Most of them were gimmick matches. Besides the match at SummerSlam '98, besides that match, the Buried Alive match, gimmick match. Most of his matches are gimmick matches to cover up how much of a good wrestler he's not. I mean, think about it, people. Like, you can't name 5 Undertaker matches. You can't name one Undertaker match that he actually carried. I'm talking about from beginning to end. Undertaker was the anchor of the match. It was highlighted. I mean, think every feud the Undertaker has had, every feud he has had, it's been think about this, right? Every feud the Undertaker has had, there's been a gimmick match in every single one of those feuds. In his feud with Stone Cold, the Buried Alive match, and his feud with Kane. In his feud with Kane, the Inferno match. In his feud with Shawn Michaels, Hell in a Cell. And his feud, Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels. And his feud with Bret Hart. Even the match at SummerSlam '97, Shawn Michaels was the special guest referee. And the more important thing about that match was how was Shawn Michaels going to referee the match between Bret Hart and The Undertaker? In his feud with Mankind, stipulation match, Hell in a Cell match. In his feud with Brock Lesnar, Hell in a Cell match. every single one of Undertaker's rivalries, every single one of his rivalries, there's a gimmick match involved to keep people more entertained. I mean, think about it. Now, I would say his best work as a wrestler was the American Bad A. That's when he put on his best work. I mean, or Big, what do they call him? Big Evil, during his motorcycle run, during the American Bad A. That's when he put on his best work, to me personally. Him as the Undertaker, like the Dead Man, the whole Undertaker gimmick, none of his best matches came from that, really. His best matches came in that 2000, I want to say that 2001, that 01 to 02, 01 to 0, like 2001, and I don't mean the invasion. I mean after the invasion. So it's probably 02. So 2002 Undertaker to probably like the first few months of 2003. That was when the Undertaker did his best work. And just 2000, the year 2000 Undertaker, he was more entertaining, but his matches weren't that good. But the 02 Undertaker, I believe that's when he had his best matches. But he's always been just a gimmick. I mean, think about it. His gimmick covered up for his lack of ability in the ring in terms of wrestling. Now you could say, some people might say, "Oh well, he dumbed down his wrestling to fit his gimmick more." Well, that doesn't make sense, because once his whole gimmick is being a dead man, being hard to beat or hard to keep down. But even with that, he still never really took like crazy damage. So if you think about it, right, like his moves aren't supposed to bother him, or he's supposed to be able to sit up after taking damage. But even during the matches, he never really took heavy damage. So you can't even say like, oh well, he was this irresistible force. He was this irresistible force that took so much damage that it never really hurt him, because he, even in his matches, he never took real damage. And him sitting up was also kind of like a play on. It was kind of like a burial of the person he was fighting, because they just did this crazy move to you, or they just did a move that the crowd, whoa, and then you sit up a few moments later and then go on the offense. Like his whole style. Listen, in my opinion, Undertaker is overrated, man. His work in the ring is overrated. His gimmick, like I said, as the dead man, was overrated. Once it got, the thing is, he did the right thing by going to the American Bad A. Once the millennium kicked in, once the year 2000 kicked in, he did the right thing. But then he brought the gimmick back, and it had its nostalgia run. But even when he came back as a dead man, if you look at his attire, see, another thing too, his attire played a major part in the not believability, but his attire played a major part in people's interest in him. Because, okay, well, if you look at from the beginning all the way up until 99, his attire was always good. Even his entrance music, his appearance physically, and his wrestling attire was always, it always had like a dark gothic interest twist to it. But then when he came back with the dead man, and then when he rebranded himself as the American Bad A, when he rebranded himself as the American Bad A, and you look at what happened, right? His attire changed, but then his whole personality changed. You got to hear him speak more. He rode the motorcycles out to the ring. It was just a breath of fresh air from a new character, not a new talent, but he presented a new character, which people ate up and loved. And that also covered up his lack of, not ability, but his lack of good matches being put on, because he was a good talker. He did good promos. And like I said, his image, all those things did more for him than his actual talent was, or what he displayed in the ring. But then again, he went back to the dead man character, and everybody was excited. Oh man, Undertaker's coming back as the dead man, whatever. We had expectations visually of what he would look like. But when he came back, he was just in a brim hat, a leather jacket, and some the overall. He had his boots, but he had on just the stretch pants, and I'm pretty sure I forgot what the wrestling, I forgot what it's called when they wear the overalls or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he had that on under the stretch pants, and he had just the logo on the side. And it's like, okay, you came back, but you came back lazy with your appearance. Like, where's the flash and the pizzazz with the appearance? You just you walk into the ring slow. You got on this leather coat. You got on the brim hat. But then when you take that off, you just got on the suspender set and the stretch pants, and it just looked like, okay, wow, like this is the Undertaker. Like, this isn't, like, you became lazy with the character, and the matches became even more lazy, because your character and what you presented was always masked or cover up your ability in the ring, or what you presented in the ring in terms of a match. But then now your attire, because a lot of people don't realize the attire plays a major part in people, being drawn to you. Like, oh, look at his ring gear. Like, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart had some of the best ring gear. That's why they some of people's favorite characters. But Undertaker, when he came back as a dead man, his ring gear was terrible. His his presentation once he got inside the ring was horrible. And that didn't mask his lack ability when it came to putting on matches. So I just think Undertaker as a character, as a wrestler, as a performer, he was more gimmick than he was wrestler. And because of that, you can't name 5 or 10 matches or pull up 5 or 10 matches where you would say, this is some of the best wrestling I ever seen. Undertaker in your memory, or in most people's memory, is more gimmick. Like, man, yeah, the Undertaker was cold, but they not saying that based on his performance in the ring. They saying that based on his promos and just the visualization of him. Never the matches he put on.